Hey folks, sorry, I've had some technical difficulties and we can resume. Apologize for that.
Okay, thank you everyone for your patience.
Hey,
We've got everything working now. Okay, so Peter, I will pass everything over to you then to get going.
okay. Thank you, Catherine. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I haven't. Is everybody that we expect on now? Okay. I see Paul Christian, a special welcome because this will probably be your last official, unless you've applied to join the committee as an independent.
This will be my last meeting. I'm stepping away from everything for a while, but that doesn't mean I won't be back in some form soon.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for your service at this point.
My pleasure.
Okay. Call the meeting to order then. The agenda just came out this morning. If everyone got the email, the first order of business is the minutes, which are pretty
Peter, sorry to interrupt you, but I think for the purposes of the minutes, we need a mover and a seconder to commence the meeting. Anne is in charge of that, so I don't know if she's still listening in here.
I'm here.
So you need a mover and a seconder?
to start the meeting, or?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I'll move that we start the meeting at 9:45. You hear a seconder?
I think Brent.
I'll second Brent.
Thanks, Brent. Okay, technical formality then. The minutes were sent out. And in that, with the minutes was the actual presentation, I think, that we received at the last meeting. So it goes into the record, I guess. Any questions with the minutes? If not, can I have a mover?
I'll move, Peter.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Seconder?
Second.
Okay, I can't see on the,
Chris Tenaglia.
okay, Chris. Thanks, Chris. All in favor? I guess with hands, aye.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 2, odor control. Or is this from the old minutes? Or is this our agenda?
This is item number
Sorry.
2 on the agenda.
Okay, this is our agenda, yeah. Okay, so the odor control is up next, which I'm guessing is Rick.
Nope, that's me. And we haven't had any reports since our last meeting, so it's a fairly short update there. The mitigative measures continue, and I know Rick's team is working hard on the biosolids facility that we updated you on the last meeting. So once that's up and running, that should give us greater control on the biosolids end of things anyways. So
Okay.
things continue on as is.
So as a side note with this, my wife and I were one of the complainers of odors in the past, and we didn't have an issue at all this year, whether the weather conditions were appropriate or not, but there was no complaints from our part.
That's good to hear.
Item number 3, update on the recycling legislation. Is that Mike?
Yes.
That would be me. Yeah. I'll just give a brief update on Blue Box. Circular Materials is the company that's the administrator of Blue Box in all of Ontario. So they have been in contact with GFL and Sault Ste. Marie to provide a service after September 30th to provide Blue Box collection curbside. And just at the last meeting, Susan had a council report about selling the the boxes that we have, the rollout carts throughout the city to GFL so that they could provide recycle collection and there won't be an interruption in the services. So GFL will be collecting and be responsible for collecting Blue Box after September 30th, 2023. So things have been changing very quickly to meet this. We're still, the city will still be responsible for collecting some ineligible areas, and we're sorting through that, and we'll be sorting through that in the new year. We may have to have our own contract with GFL for things like arenas and things like that, but we're sorting through that. So that's what's been changing with Blue Box collection in Sault Ste. Marie. It'll be a big change in 2023.
So Mike, with this new company, you said Recycling Ontario, or what was the name again?
Called Circular Materials.
Circular Material. Is this a private company or is this a consortium of the industry?
No, it's a private company. They're the like administrators for all of Ontario. So they divided Ontario up into catchment areas, and that includes Sault Ste. Marie, which is part of catchment area 33, and that includes all of Algoma. So there's quite a number of catchment areas that they are contracting out with various collectors in Ontario, and ours is GFL, and it only made sense because GFL is already set up in Sault Ste. Marie.
So is this industry funded now?
It's the producers are the responsible entity for collecting their product, and there's so many changes that have been happening here and are happening in the next short while that we've been wondering how this is going to work, and there's still a lot of things to be sorted out.
So it sounds like the collection aspect is being taken care of and the funding is yet to be decided.
I'm not sure how it's all being funded by the producers now.
Okay, so in the meantime, we're off the hook as far as paying for it.
As far as curbside collection in Sault Ste. Marie, it's going to be the producer's responsibility in 2023 after September 30th, 2023. And things will change as the years come about the quantity or the different types of plastics and recycled materials that will be collected. But for now, we can expect the same type of service that we have right now.
Okay, this is all good news. And the public will be glad to hear it.
We are expecting some education for the public in the new year. How that will work, we're still sorting that out.
Any other questions of Mike? Okay, thank you for the update, Mike. Item number 4 then, waste collection option study.
That's me, Peter.
Rick, okay.
So I think I'll quickly just share my screen here just to provide a little bit of context and help people understand and really, so what I wanted to do today is just give everybody a high level overview. We thought it would be worthwhile for the committee to understand that this study is ongoing and what it's all about and why, what the rationale was for undertaking it. So the City Public Works did get us involved in undertaking this waste management collection options study. And really, I just want to share the table of contents with you because this report is currently in progress. In other words, it hasn't been finalized yet. I don't want to get into any details regarding the conclusions or what the findings are, but at least make the committee aware of what's being covered in the report and why it was initiated. So essentially, in 2025, the city is going to be mandated to collect source separated organics. We're calling it 2025 because that's generally what has been reflected in the food and organic waste policy statement. So there's an initiative on the part of the Ontario government to reduce the amount of organic and food waste going to landfill. And with that, there were some specific criteria which when applied to Sault Ste. Marie, dictate that we as a municipality need to start collecting source separated organics curbside. So there are obviously a number of municipalities in Ontario that are currently collecting what we call green bin waste. But with the parameters that have been put forward in the food and organic waste policy statement, the city of Sault Ste. Marie is now incorporated in that and is being mandated to do so. We anticipate that it may be challenging to actually get this implemented by 2025, just because of supply chain constraints. In particular, with collection vehicles, it's challenging to get collection vehicles ordered and delivered within the timeframe needed. In addition, we are currently working on, as Catherine noted, the biosolids facility, but that biosolids facility is now a dual stream facility. In other words, we will be processing both biosolids, which is sewage sludge from our 2 wastewater treatment plants, but we'll also be managing and processing source separated organics there. So we're anticipating there's going to be challenges to get that up and running in the timeline required. So, practically speaking, we anticipate that we could be looking at more like a 2026 timeframe to get this actually fully implemented. So this study, again, looked at what changes are going to be required on the collection side. So we now know we have to collect source separated organics as a municipality. How are we going to do that? So in terms of the table of contents here, what we first did was inventory sort of the existing collection system in the city of Sault Ste. Marie. We talked about garbage collection. We talked about blue box recycling collection. We talked about leaf and yard waste. Those are sort of the 3 streams that are being collected now. We talked about the frequency of collection and what types of vehicles are being used for that collection. And we talked about where the city's collection fleet currently stands in terms of its status and need for renewal. And then we went into the provincial legislation and talked about the background that I just referred to in terms of how the legislation is changing things for the city of Sault Ste. Marie, and the fact that we now have to collect a new waste stream that is currently not being collected. We also spoke to what Mike just referred to, that the city has been administering and contracting GFL to collect recyclables historically, but that is now changing and the city is no longer going to be in that equation. We will not be responsible for undertaking and contracting service for recycling collection. So ultimately, from a city perspective, the waste streams that are in the care and control of the city in the future are garbage, certainly the source separated organics, which is the new waste stream, and then of course leaf and yard waste. So our study here really focused on those 3 waste streams. And in section 4 of the report, we really went into quite a bit of detail in terms of what other municipalities are currently doing that are collecting source separated organics, how they're going about it, what types of vehicles are being used, how frequently they're collecting the various waste streams. So we wanted to provide sort of an Ontario context in terms of what other municipalities are doing and what appears to be best practices. So section 4 provides some historical overview of other municipalities and their collection programs. And then in section 5 of the report, that's where we start looking at options specific to the city of Sault Ste. Marie. And in section 5.1, we actually look specifically at collection frequency. In other words, how frequently should we be collecting each of those 3 waste streams? And it's really should we be collecting it weekly or should we be collecting it bi-weekly? And we go through those options for each of the 3 waste streams, meaning leaf and yard waste, source separated organics, and then the residual garbage that's left. So we talk about the frequency there and come to some conclusions as to what may make most sense for the city of Sault Ste. Marie. And then in section 5.2, we start looking at how do we best collect those 3 waste streams as efficiently as possible. And that's where we look at things like, should we be continuing with automated collection? Should we be using single body trucks where we collect only 1 waste stream in the truck? Or should we be using split body trucks like is currently being used for the recycling program? So a split body trucks has 2 separate containers on the back of the truck where we could in theory collect 2 separate waste streams at the same time. So in section 5.2, we look at how many collection vehicles are we going to need under these various options, and look at various, we ultimately go through an evaluation based on various criteria, including safety, including costs, including, what would be best for property owners, et cetera. And we make some conclusions there. So we basically went through frequency options and we went through implementation options. We presented those to city staff and provided them with our draft report. We're hoping to finalize this report by the end of the year and draw those conclusions. So at that time, it'll be something that the city staff will be sharing with council. So it's premature to obviously share any of those conclusions yet because they haven't been finalized yet, but just wanted you guys to be aware on the committee that this is ongoing. And then in section 5.3, we basically looked at a number of other collection system considerations, hybrid collection approach. In other words, right now we have part of the collection area being collected by a contractor, part is being done by city staff. There was a fairly significant study completed in that regard back in 2018. So we just kind of revisited it a little bit just to confirm, has anything changed with the new collection approach? Should we continue with that hybrid collection approach in the future? And we even looked at a hybrid collection approach where rather than dividing the area, dividing the city into separate geographic areas for the city and the contractor, should we be dividing, the hybrid approach based on material type? In other words, contractor collect garbage, city collect source separated organics. Should we be doing that? And then we looked at automated versus manual collection as well. Should all streams, which streams should we be collecting automated? Which should we be collecting manually? And then we talked about the automated vehicle equipment. So if we are collecting it through automated collection, there's different approaches to be used there. And then lastly, we talked about electric and alternative fuel collection vehicles. Does it make sense for the city with what they're contemplating for collection vehicles in this current round coming up of ordering new equipment? Should electric or alternative fuel collection vehicles be considered at this point in time, or is it a little premature still? So that just provides you guys with a high level overview of, what's incorporated in this study. And you can likely look forward to sort of this report being released to council sometime in the new year. And like I say, just wanted to make you aware of it. Any questions?
Thanks, Rick.
No questions? Thanks, Rick, for the update. Didn't realize this was going on in the background, but you're up to speed and you're ready to present it to council in the new year. That's good. But it's implementation, we're saying this is for 2020, 2025?
Yeah, in general. So the food and organic waste policy statement speaks to 2025 for implementation. Like I say, we are anticipating challenges in meeting that date from a couple of perspectives in terms of possibly getting the necessary collection fleet in service by that date, and also in terms of getting the processing facility fully operational by that date. So we're anticipating that, there will be some flexibility with that date. Hopefully, the province hasn't specifically come out and spoken to some of these challenges that are being experienced, obviously, globally in terms of supply chain issues. So we're hopeful that there will be some flexibility. I would think that, by 2026, we can certainly implement things more fully. We may be able to get things implemented late 2025, but again, time will tell in that regard. So we anticipate working with the Ministry of Environment and Parks just to talk through, some of these challenges and see what kind of flexibility will be there for some of these dates.
Okay, any other questions? Thanks again, Rick.
You're welcome.
Item 5, new monitoring well.
Yeah, that one's mine as well, Peter. So I just wanted to quickly update the committee. The committee, certainly those who have been on the committee for some time are aware that there's been some discussion. I've just put up a plan here. This is Dylan's plan that shows the various groundwater monitoring wells that are on site and off site around the landfill site. So what you're seeing here is a plan. Fifth line is shown down here at the bottom of the plan. Here's the landfill access road with, the administration building and the garage. There's been, so again, for leachate management, obviously when precipitation, so our waste mound, let's start with that. Our waste footprint is generally this line here. So as precipitation, whether it's snow, melting snow, or rainfall filters through the waste, it generates what we call leachate. That leachate basically has some contaminants in it. And in our case, the groundwater flows kind of towards the southeast from that waste mound, and it also flows to the west and southwest from our waste mound. So it flows in two separate directions here. And we basically use these groundwater monitors to monitor the quality of the groundwater, basically downstream of the landfill site. So we want to understand what kind of impacts we may be having on groundwater quality. We have a lot of monitors to the west because the west there has been more impacts close to the landfill site. On the western side, we have a series of 10 purge wells that are operating continuously. So these wells draw water, and it eventually goes to our pumping station, which is here at the landfill site, and it gets pumped to the wastewater collection system and goes to the West End sewage treatment plant. So there's 10 wells are operating continuously 24/7 to draw water on the western side. And then on the southern and southeastern side of the landfill, we have a horizontal groundwater collector. It basically operates, it straddles the groundwater table below grade, and water flows into a pipe, much like a French drain, along this southern boundary and along this southeastern boundary. And it flows into that trench, and then it goes to our pump station again, and ultimately goes to our landfill site, to our wastewater treatment site. So we have these two means of collecting and treating impacted groundwater. One of the things that the EMC committee has identified is it would be nice to see maybe an additional monitor on this side, because we have seen that this horizontal groundwater collector has been quite effective in managing leachate historically, but there was we did have a monitoring well here previously. So this is the Cannon Creek, and that got destroyed. I think it might have been in conjunction with the relocation of Cannon Creek. We do have a monitoring well here, which is on the upstream side of the leachate collector. So that horizontal leachate collector is here, it's upstream. So, we're able to see what the quality of water is as it, before it gets to our leachate collector, which is helping to manage the quality of water leaving our waste mound, but we don't really have anything downstream of it here. So I know the EMC was instrumental in suggesting that maybe there should be an additional monitor placed here. So what we are doing, and I'll go to another plan here, we are putting in this new monitoring well, the proposed well location. So the existing leachate collector is upstream here. We're going to put a new monitoring well in this location. And again, just to go back to the other plan, it will be fairly close to where the old 40 was, just somewhere right in here. So between the existing collector and Cannon Creek, there will be a new monitoring well going in here. That's scheduled to be installed early next week. So we just wanted to make the committee aware that we're acting on this particular recommendation that came through the monitoring report, and really it came through as a function of the EMC committee that there was it was felt it would be beneficial to have an additional monitoring well on this eastern boundary. So that will be installed early next week, and obviously monitoring of that well will be initiated in 2023. So as part of the 2023 monitoring program and the future 2023 monitoring report, you'll start seeing some sample results there and what kind of groundwater quality we have. So that's my update with respect to that.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick. Any
Hey,
questions?
Rick, I had a question about the new well, Rick.
Yeah.
It's Kristen Anglia here. Was that one green dot 59? Is that an active well in the monitoring program?
Yeah, that's 39. Yeah, so that one there was sampled in 2021. So yeah, it was active in 2021. It's typically active, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Are the results there positive?
Yep. There we again sort of throughout this area on the eastern side and southern side, the results are showing that in terms of leachate plume, this particular collector, horizontal collector, has been very effective in managing leachate leaving the site. So, Dylan's conclusions have typically been that the leachate plume here has been stationary, and we're doing a good job in managing impacts on both the southeastern and southern sides of the landfill. The area that we're more challenged with has typically been in recent years has been more so on the western side.
Gotcha. And so do the results are from the samples collected at 39, are they meeting the criteria?
Yeah, so again, our compliance limit is really at the property boundary. So I can't speak specifically to the quality of the results at this. I could provide that to you, Chris. I don't have that handy here, but in general, the conclusions that have been reached by Dylan, and bear in mind the reporting and analysis of the groundwater data is being completed by Dylan and not ourselves, AECOM.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
in general, the conclusions that have been reached on that eastern and southern boundary are that there's nothing there that is causing us any concern at this point in time.
Awesome. And then 41, is that a monitoring well as well?
41 is a monitoring well, yes, but it wasn't sampled in 2021.
Okay.
It's on the other side of the creek, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks.
Thanks again, Rick.
You're welcome.
So any other items on the agenda? Anything anybody wants to bring up? I have one question came from the public. They asked, was the city using, I guess, waste paper, the fiber? Were they using that in the landfill to soak up the biosolids? I know we're using the wood waste.
I don't think you could say we were using it. I mean, it did soak up additional moisture from the biosolids just from the very nature of the material. So yeah, that I think was something historically that Public Works saw, and as the reduction of that type of material was brought to the landfill because of recycling, then obviously there was a reduced ability to soak up the water using that material. So we introduced the wood as kind of a mitigative measure to assist in the interim.
But at this point, we're not using the recycled paper.
Well, it was never used. Yeah, it was never used for that. It's just we had more paper going to the landfill. And as we've been able to increase our recycling efforts and having more material diverted, then there's less of that in the landfill.
No, the allegation from the public was that our recycled paper was simply going to the landfill to soak up the biosolids. So I can say that's not true.
We never diverted paper to the landfill for the purposes of soaking up biosolids liquids, no.
Yeah, okay, that was my response, is that to my knowledge, we're not, I just wanted to confirm it. Okay, any other issues or items? As far as running, I have applied for next year as well. As the other members, Brent, have you reapplied, or Chris?
Yeah, I reapplied.
I'll check back in with Ann to make sure everything's good there.
Okay. Usually the city has announced the committees before Christmas, so that I'm guessing is it in an in-committee item, or when will the public know who the members are?
As soon as the staff know, we'll let you know. I've not received notice yet.
Okay, but we can expect it shortly.
I haven't been given a schedule, but I can look into that.
Yeah. Okay, if there's no other items, thank you everybody for joining us, and look forward to being again in the new year. Our mandate, I think, is 4 meetings per year. So the next tentative timeline would probably be in the spring.
Yeah, our mandate is 3 meetings per year. So typically we've tried to time it with, at the very least, the annual reports. And if there's larger items that we are able to discuss before then certainly we'll reach out and schedule a meeting to try to get things going earlier. And just wanted to thank everybody for their participation in the committee the last 2 years. We appreciate your attendance at all the meetings, and hopefully we'll see some more of your faces next year when the new committee gets formed.
Okay, can we have a motion for adjournment?
I can. It's Tracy.
Okay, I doubt that there's any objection, so thank you, everybody, and we'll see most of you in the new year. And thanks again, Paul, for what you've contributed in the past year or two.
For purposes of the minutes, I'll second the adjournment and give Ann a name to slot in there. So thanks everybody for attending.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Have a nice day.